Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation News. Fans, the studio lights of Bachelor Happy Hour glimmered softly, casting a warm glow across the set. But despite the familiar cheer of the hosts and the comforting hum of cameras rolling, Juliana's usual sparkle was noticeably absent. Fans watching from home could feel it instantly. Something heavy hung in the air. Juliana took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly as she clasped them together. I have something really difficult to share," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. The audience leaned in, sensing the gravity of what was coming. "Grant and we're no longer together." A collective gasp seemed to echo through screens everywhere. Social media exploded within seconds. Fans who had been rooting for Juliana and Grant, who had watched their love story bloom on reality TV, couldn't believe the news. Heart emojis were quickly replaced by broken hearts and crying face reactions. The hosts, trying to stay composed, gently pressed Juliana to share more. She swallowed hard, fighting back tears. "It wasn't one moment," she admitted. "It wasn't a fight or a single mistake. It was a realization, a slow understanding that we want different things, that the love we had, it just wasn't enough to carry us forward together." Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears as she looked down, collecting herself. "I've replayed every moment in my head, every laugh, every kiss, every late-night conversation, and it's all real, but love sometimes isn't enough." The room fell silent. Even the hosts were visibly moved, feeling the raw pain Juliana carried in that moment. Fans might see our smiles on TV and think everything is perfect, but life isn't perfect, and sometimes the hardest part of love is knowing when to let go. As she spoke, flashbacks of her and Grant together began circulating online. Clips of them holding hands, laughing on romantic dates, and sharing those intimate confessions that fans had watched unfold over weeks suddenly felt bittersweet. What once felt magical now felt painfully fleeting. Juliana's voice quivered as she addressed the audience directly. "I wanted so badly for this to work. I believed in us, and I still do, in a way, but loving someone doesn't always mean you're meant to stay together, and that's the hardest lesson I've ever had to learn." The hosts offered comfort, placing supportive hands on her shoulders. "You're incredibly brave for sharing this, Juliana," one said softly. "I know your fans love you, and they're heartbroken, but they'll understand that sometimes the kindest choice is letting go." Juliana nodded, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. "I hope they remember the love we shared, not just the heartbreak, because it was real and it was beautiful, but now it's time for both of us to heal separately." As the segment ended, the screen faded to black with Juliana's final words lingering in the air. "This isn't the ending I imagined, but maybe it's the beginning of something else, for both of us." By the time the show cut to commercial, hashtags like Juliana Heartbreak, Grant and Juliana, and Bachelor Sad News were trending worldwide. Fans flooded social media with messages of support, shock, and shared heartbreak. Some cried, some sent prayers, and some just sat silently, mourning a love story they had grown to cherish from afar. And though the world watched Juliana walk away from Grant with a heavy heart, one thing was certain: her honesty, vulnerability, and courage to speak her truth had touched millions, leaving an unforgettable mark on Bachelor history. The Bachelor Happy Hour set shimmered as if they knew something extraordinary and tragic was about to unfold. Normally, the studio buzzed with laughter, playful teasing, and excited chatter about the latest Bachelor moments. Tonight, though, the energy was different. Heavy, heartbreaking. Juliana walked onto the stage slowly, the familiar applause of fans greeting her, feeling oddly distant. Her usual glow, the sparkle in her eyes that had won hearts across the country, seemed muted. She clasped her hands, fingers intertwined, as if holding on to herself in preparation for what she had to say. I have something really hard to share, she began, her voice low, almost fragile. Grant and we've broken up. The room went silent. The hosts froze mid-sentence, microphones hovering in the air as the weight of her words sank in. Cameras lingered on her face, capturing every flicker of emotion, every tremble of her lips, every quick swallow as she fought to hold back tears. Social media erupted almost immediately. Fans who had followed every moment of Juliana and Grant's love story couldn't believe it. Tweets poured in faster than anyone could read. No, / Juliana heartbreak. Grant and Juliana? My heart. I want to be honest with you all, Juliana continued, blinking back tears. This wasn't a fight, there wasn't betrayal, there wasn't a shocking, dramatic reason. It's just that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes even when you love someone deeply, you realize you want different things. You grow in different directions. Her voice broke on the last word, and the cameras captured a long, silent pause. She swallowed hard. I thought love could fix everything, she admitted. I thought that if we loved each other enough, we could weather anything. But love can't always fix what's broken. Sometimes love means knowing when to let go. The hosts reached out, offering comfort, their own expressions reflecting the pain of the moment. Juliana, your fans love you so much, and though this is heartbreaking, your honesty will mean everything to them. Juliana nodded, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. I hope they remember the good times, she said softly, the laughter, the joy, the magical moments that made me fall in love with Grant in the first place, because those moments were real, they were beautiful, and they will always be part of my story. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. I know people might see us smiling on TV and think everything was perfect, but life isn't perfect. Love isn't perfect. And sometimes the hardest part of love is letting go of someone who still holds a piece of your heart. Outside the studio, fans took to social media in droves. Instagram stories filled with crying emojis, TikTok reactions went viral in minutes, and YouTube compilations of Juliana and Grant's most touching moments flooded the platform. Clips of them laughing, holding hands, and whispering confessions that once felt so intimate now seemed achingly bittersweet. I've replayed every conversation, she said, her voice trembling, every inside joke, every late-night talk. I've replayed the moments when I thought we were unstoppable, and I've realized we weren't meant to go the distance. And that realization, it hurts more than anything I've ever experienced. She took a long, shaky breath, as if gathering courage from somewhere deep inside. I wanted this to work, I really did, but sometimes loving someone means letting them go. And Grant, I will always love him, always, but now we need to live our lives apart, to heal, to grow. The hosts exchanged a glance, their own voices quiet with emotion. It's rare to see someone be so open about heartbreak, one said gently. Fans will hurt, yes, but they'll also see the bravery in your honesty. Juliana nodded, tears streaming freely now. I wish I could have written a different ending, she whispered, one where we stayed together and our love story had a perfect finale, but life doesn't always give us that. And maybe this heartbreak will lead to something better for both of us, eventually. The show cut to a montage of Juliana and Grant's most unforgettable moments. Their first date, the shared laughter, the gentle touches, the private smiles only they shared. Fans watched and cried. Some whispered to their screens, "I can't believe it's over. They were perfect together. Juliana, stay strong. We love you." By the end of the episode, hashtags like Juliana Heartbreak, Grant and Juliana Split, and Bachelor Sad News were trending worldwide. Fans mourned the love story they had followed for months, feeling the heartbreak as if it were their own. But through the tears and shock, there was also admiration for Juliana's bravery, her vulnerability, and her courage to share the truth in front of millions. She had turned a moment of personal pain into a reminder of life's complicated, beautiful, and often tragic reality. Love doesn't always last, even when it's real. Juliana's final words lingered in the hearts of fans long after the episode ended. "This chapter may be over, but the love we shared will always be part of me. And maybe, just maybe, letting go is the first step towards something new, something we both need." The heartbreak was raw, the tears were real, but the honesty, that would stay with fans forever. And for a moment, the world paused, not just to mourn a love lost, but to witness the courage it takes to face it and to move forward
The set of
despite
Bachelor Happy Hour was buzzing with its usual energy, laughter, banter, and the soft hum of cameras rolling. But as Juliana stepped onto the stage, the atmosphere shifted. The brightness in her eyes seemed dimmer, the confident smile that fans adored now tinged with something heavier. Anyone watching closely could tell this was not a happy story. She took her seat, her fingers nervously brushing the microphone, and let out a slow breath. I have something really difficult to share with all of you," she began. The words came slowly, deliberately, as if she were forcing herself to speak through a lump in her throat. "Grant and we've broken up." The audience gasped. Even the hosts, seasoned at handling shocking news, paused in their tracks. On screens across the world, Bachelor fans froze mid-scroll, their hearts stopping as they processed the announcement. The couple that had seemed inseparable, whose love story had inspired thousands, was over. "I know this is sudden, even though it's been building for a while," Juliana continued, her voice trembling. "It wasn't a fight, it wasn't betrayal, it wasn't anything dramatic. It was just a realization that sometimes love isn't enough to keep two people together." Her hands clasped tightly in her lap, and the silence in the room felt almost unbearable. Fans could feel her heartbreak radiating through the screen. "I replay every single memory in my head, every laugh, every inside joke, every night we stayed up talking about our dreams, and every moment feels heavy now, knowing it's over." The hosts offered gentle reassurances, leaning in, their expressions filled with empathy, but Juliana shook her head, a sad smile tugging at her lips. "You see, Grant is an incredible man, and I love him deeply, but loving someone doesn't always mean you can make it work, and realizing that sometimes the right person isn't the right person for you is the hardest thing I've ever had to face." The cameras lingered on her face as she paused, tears welling in her eyes. She looked down, brushing a tear away, then continued, her voice quiet but steady. "I wanted to believe we could fix everything, that love could conquer all. But love can't fix everything, and sometimes letting go is the kindest thing you can do for someone you care about." Across social media, fans were devastated. Hashtags like Juliana Heartbreak, Grant and Juliana Split, and Bachelor Sad News began trending within minutes. Clips of Juliana laughing with Grant, sharing quiet romantic moments on the show, suddenly carried a new weight, a bittersweet reminder of what had been lost. "I know people will see our smiles on TV," she said, her voice cracking, "and they'll think it was all perfect. But love isn't always perfect. Sometimes it's messy.
Sometimes it's painful, and sometimes the hardest part is realizing that even though you love someone, you can't stay together. The hosts nodded, their own voices softening. It takes incredible courage to share this, Juliana, one of them said. Your fans may be heartbroken, but they'll appreciate your honesty, and they'll support you no matter what. Juliana swallowed, blinking back tears. I hope they remember the good times, the laughter, the love, the moments that felt like magic, because those moments were real. But now, Grant and I have to walk separate paths, and that's something I never imagined I'd have to accept. She leaned back, her shoulders heavy with the weight of her emotions. I wish it were different, she whispered. I wish we could have stayed together, but sometimes love isn't enough, and I have to accept that for both of our sakes. The studio remained quiet, the usual chatter replaced by a reverent stillness. The audience understood. They were witnessing a rare, deeply human moment, the raw, unfiltered pain of heartbreak, live on air. As the cameras cut to a montage of Juliana and Grant's most memorable moments, fans online couldn't help but cry. Clips of stolen glances, shared laughter, and romantic embraces were now tinged with melancholy. Comments flooded in. I can't believe this. My heart hurts for them. They seemed so perfect together. And, Juliana, stay strong. We love you. Juliana's final words lingered in the hearts of viewers long after the episode ended. This chapter of our lives has ended, but the love we shared will always be a part of me, and maybe, just maybe, letting go is the first step towards something new, something we both need. Even as the screen faded to black, the world mourned with her. The story of Juliana and Grant, a love that had captivated Bachelor fans everywhere, had come to a heartbreaking close. Yet amidst the tears, there was also admiration for her honesty, her vulnerability, and her courage to face the truth and share it with millions of people who had come to care so deeply. For fans, it was a reminder that love isn't always fairy tale perfect. Sometimes it's painfully human. And though the heartbreak was real, so was the bravery, and that, above all, left an indelible mark on Bachelor history.
The stage of Bachelor Happy Hour usually sparkled with laughter, glitz, and playful chaos. Tonight, however, the lights felt heavy, almost reverent, as if they themselves understood the weight of what was about to happen. Juliana walked onto the set, her steps measured, her usually radiant smile muted. Cameras zoomed in as fans across the country leaned closer to their screens, sensing something was very wrong. I have something really difficult to share, Juliana began, her hands nervously fidgeting with the microphone. Grant and we've broken up. The room fell into a stunned silence. The hosts exchanged worried glances, unsure how to respond. On social media, fans froze mid-scroll, their hearts collectively shattering. Comments flooded in. No way! No way! They seemed so perfect together. Juliana, stay strong. Juliana swallowed hard, her voice quivering. This wasn't because of a fight. It wasn't betrayal. It wasn't anything anyone could have predicted. It was a realization. A painful, heartbreaking realization that love alone isn't always enough. She paused, eyes glistening with tears, glancing down at her hands. I've replayed every single moment in my head, the first date, the laughter, the quiet nights together, and now every memory feels heavy, knowing it's over. The hosts reached out, offering comfort, their own faces reflecting the empathy and shock the audience felt. Juliana, your honesty is incredible, one said softly. Fans are devastated, but they'll also admire your courage. Juliana nodded, tears streaming freely now. I wanted so badly for this to work. I wanted to believe that love could conquer all. But sometimes, even love can't fix what's broken, and realizing that,
Loving someone but knowing it's time to let go, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Social media erupted within minutes. Instagram stories, TikTok reactions, and Twitter threads filled with crying emojis, heartbreak, and disbelief. Fans started creating compilations of Juliana and Grant's most intimate moments, laughing together, whispering secrets, holding hands during romantic dates. The montage of their love story, once heartwarming, now carried an unbearable weight. I know people might see our smiles on TV and think everything was perfect, but life isn't perfect. Love isn't perfect. And sometimes the hardest lesson is accepting that the person you love may not be the one you're meant to be with. She took a shaky breath. Grant is an incredible man. I will always love him, but we need to walk separate paths now. We need space to heal, to grow, to live our lives individually, and that hurts more than I can describe. The cameras lingered on her face, capturing every flicker of pain, every tear. Fans watching felt it in their own hearts. Comments flooded in faster than any algorithm could keep up. "This is the saddest news ever. No way. I can't stop crying. They were my favorite couple." Juliana pressed her hands to her chest. "I wish this weren't the ending," she said softly. "I wish our story had a happy fairy tale ending, but sometimes life doesn't give you that ending. And maybe this heartbreak is the beginning of something new for both of us." The hosts nodded solemnly, clearly moved. It's rare to see someone share heartbreak with such honesty. Your fans will hurt, yes, but they'll also respect you immensely for being so open. Juliana looked out at the cameras, as if speaking to everyone watching. "I hope people remember the love we shared," she whispered. "The laughter, the quiet moments, the magic, because those moments were real, and even though we have to part ways, those memories will always be part of me, part of us." Outside the studio, the fan reaction was instantaneous. TikTok videos titled "Juliana Breaks Heart" went viral within hours, garnering millions of views. Instagram threads overflowed with emotional tributes, fan art, and heartfelt messages. "We cried with you. Grant and Juliana forever in our hearts. This hits too hard." Even media outlets quickly jumped on the story. Headlines screamed, "Juliana's heartbreak, Bachelor Nation in tears." Fans devastated after Grant and Juliana split. The love story that shocked the world has ended. As the episode drew to a close, Juliana's voice softened, her final words echoing long after the cameras stopped rolling. "This chapter may be over, but the love we shared will always be part of me. And maybe, just maybe, letting go is the first step towards something new, something better for both of us." Fans mourned the loss of the couple they had followed for months, but they also felt inspired by Juliana's courage, her vulnerability, and her willingness to share her heartbreak openly. It was a reminder that love isn't always perfect, and sometimes the bravest act of love is to let go. By the time social media quieted, Juliana's announcement had left an indelible mark on Bachelor history, a story of love, heartbreak, and the courage to face truth, no matter how painful. Even in heartbreak, her voice had reached millions, carrying a message of honesty, hope, and the bittersweet reality that love, even when it ends, can leave a legacy that lasts forever.